When I was 17, I had my heart set on being a nurse, and one day I received a postcard in the mail from the US Air Force saying that they would pay for college and provide endless possibilities. All I had to do was sign the dotted line. Now, what would you do if you were me? I had been homeschooled since seventh grade, wasn't wealthy enough to pay for college without going into a ton of student loan debt, and I had this weird, overwhelming desire to prove myself to others. Over the next 5 minutes, I would like to share with you my story of joining the military and how much I gained from this decision. I'm going to tell you all why I joined, the growing pains that were unavoidable, and the impact the military has had on my life. After I read through that postcard and completed some more research, I convinced my mom to take me to the recruiting center to ask some questions and see if this was something that I could really go through with. My mom was amazing. She was very supportive, but as a mother myself now, I realized that she had to have been freaking out. Her 17-year-old daughter, still naive to much of the world, was wanting to run off to boot camp. But she took me, and once we arrived, the first office in the building was the Army recruiter's office, and they convinced us to come talk to them instead of going down the hall to the Air Force. Over the next 3 months, my parents drilled the recruiters with questions, and we kept getting handed off to the next desk up. When they asked me why I wanted to join, they were surprised when I said I wanted to experience basic training to prove that I was strong enough to handle it. I overheard others answering the same question, and many of them simply wanted to blow stuff up. Well, they came to the right place. As I mentioned, I wanted to be a nurse, and I was told that as a nurse in the Army, I could end up in Germany, especially if I became an officer. As a child, I lived in Holland, and that part of the world still felt more like home to me than the US did. The Army also offered student loan repayment, not that I ended up seeing a dime of that, and I would be eligible for a monthly stipend while attending school. So by the time we ended up in the head recruiter's office, I had a pretty decent pro con list, and the pro side was ahead. Once the decision was made, all that was left was to say see you later to my friends and family and get onto the airplane. I was on my way to boot camp. Basic training was a whole new world of really early mornings, being pushed to physical and mental limits, and an unexpected amount of drama. I can't speak for the male side of basic, but the ladies, it was what I imagined high school to be like: gossip, backstabbing, and just being in other people's business. Honestly, that was the hardest part for me. Not the lack of sleep or being away from home for the first time, not even the drill sergeants with their constant verbal abuse. The other girls I had to live with were the biggest challenge and actually pushed me to a breaking point. Luckily, I had the best battle buddy, and she helped me deal with it through her beautiful singing and dark humor. It has been 6 years since my contract ended and 12 years since I was in basic training, and I still find myself reflecting on the life lessons I learned just during those 4 months beyond how to be a soldier. Fast forward from finishing basic training to a few years later, and I have moved to Phoenix, Arizona, and joined a new unit. I didn't know it until a few years later, but my future husband was a sergeant in that unit. We got married in 2012, had 2 children, and it is an understatement to say that it is nice being with someone who has had similar experiences. My husband is the one who helped me realize my true passion, teaching. I would not be the same without him or my military experience. And it turns out I learned a lot more than how to be a soldier in basic training, more than how to shoot an M16, more than how to stick myself with an IV, more than how to find my way when I got lost in the woods. I now know that I can tackle things that are a challenge. I learned that I can do hard things, and so can you. And while there were certainly moments during those 6 years I regretted my decision to sign that dotted line, overall the experience has made me a better person and led me down a path to where I am today. I hope that you were encouraged by my story to try new and intimidating things, because if a naive, homeschooled 17-year-old girl can take the leap into the unknown and scary, then what is your excuse? Thank you.